Hello everyone, this is Heroes Trivia, and welcome back to Group C, as we have a matchup between Beihai Butchers and King of Yen. Now this will be King of Yen's last game, as we had Imperator drop out, and if he was to win this game, then he will actually win the group, because he would have a 3-0 flawless record, and wins against anyone else who could reach a 3-1 record. But if Beihai Butchers win, then King of Yen will actually be effectively knocked out from the tournament with a 2-1 record, and Beihai Butchers will be in the driving seat with a 3-0 record and one final matchup against Lu Meng at the end of day. Now looking at their composition, in the green we have Beihai Butchers bring his Lemon comp for the third time now, as we've seen him bull rush with this comp the last two times he has brought it, and he's probably going to try the same thing here again. And that's actually kind of interesting because King of Yen made a name for himself in Season 2 as the player who would use Naman comps and elephants. But with the changes to the Naman faction in the mod, I think he's favoring a bit too much of Utugu and those Javelin Spear Guard, which seems to be his favorite unit, as he's remaining with the same comp of Xu Huang, Pei Yuanshao, and Utugu for this matchup as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how he counters his own beloved elephant in this matchup. And hopping over to the game here, we see pretty much the same setup from both players from their previous match. We have King of Yen with his units laid out in a line across the forest. And then we see sort of this formation / defensive posturing from Beihai Butchers, even though we know for sure he's going to charge these very soon. Or maybe he takes a more cautious approach because he's facing King of Yen, as both of these players played in Season 2, I believe, so they should be very familiar with each other. Even though Beihai Butchers had a very different composition back then, hence the name Beihai Butchers. But perhaps he picked up this trick from watching King of Yen during Season 2. So far, no movement. Surprised Beihai Butcher hasn't charged yet, given what has happened before. The brand name effect. Now they are a range unit on King of Yen's side, so he could set things up over here in the clearing. Ah, here comes some movement. And the generals are going ahead as well. And they're gunning for that harassment unit as well. Since there is no cavalry in the Naman comp, perhaps catching them out in the open is a possibility. Here comes the unit. We'll fast forward this part. Feels like we're just going to get a bit of posturing from both sides. They're going to go for it. A bigger bait. Generals coming out. Seems like they have fallen for this. Units are moving up. Generals now finally pulling back, moving them toward the javelin. They're not really going to stop them from going back. We actually have King of Yen pulling back a bit. I think we saw a dagger thrown. Totally at the wrong unit. It missed. It hit the ground. But that's not one ability that's good against units. Alright, got the generals coming out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure King of Yen knows about the javelins, which is why he's doing this. See if they can get the javelin damage on top of them. Wolfpack coming back in. Wonder if we'll see a Wisdom of the River usage. They're going after Lady Zhuron. Now Wolfpack are not good against range, so the crossbow could do a decent damage. Although I think the range is a little too close at this point. Not sure if turtle formation is a good idea. I think he's trying to bait out. He's worried about the spears, but pulling back is probably better. Because they're not going to do very hot against Follower of the Flame. Oh, this is a terrible matchup. I'm trying to get some javelin damage, but once contact's going to hit, it's going to be pretty bad. Alright, the general's going to try to swing things here. Tiger's being released. I think they are fighting the cavalry. The tiger has not been released here yet. Alright, now we got the generals coming in. I don't know what Xu Huang's doing. A Wisdom River usage. And seeing King of Yan getting charged by elephants. Look at that. There's a bit of poetic justice to this, given how often we've seen King of Yan do this to other players. And they just been routed right away. The cavalry has not been really used much at all. I don't think that was a wise usage. See if they can get rid of Meng Huo here. We have the dismounting on one side. And Meng Huo has evaporated. Let's see if they can go over there and kill Lady Zhurong as well. The elephant's gonna do work. If the cavalry can stay alive, and the general can stay alive, the unit can be overcome. The cavalry should probably back off right now. We'll see if the generals can swing the fight against the elephants. They're trying to get to Lady Zhurong, but she's on horse. She's not committed to this fight. She's just pulling away, which is very smart. Every unit chasing this guy? They're okay. I mean, all of King of Yan's unit are pretty much routed except for the cavalry. Good hit. Elephants being really disruptive, even against the generals. But they can probably kill Lady Zhurong here. Wu Tugu is taking a huge chunk. Army loss is going to kick in eventually. And it's going to be just Xu Huang. I feel like King of Yan is probably not going to get away with this one. Very similar to last match, where all his unit lost. The general is slightly advantageous. In this case, slightly less advantageous. Very good job of kiting out the targets. Just not giving something to fight. Wu Tugu is gone. The cavalry being recommitted here is sort of a last-ditch effort. It's not going to get anything done. The roar trying to help. Once these cavalry give in, it's probably going to be over. This brings up another point. I don't think Northern Lancers were a good choice for a unit here, but that's a different problem. Let's see if Xu Huang can kill Lady Zhurong. Alright, so she's down. Can Xu Huang get back to his horse? Because that's really what he needs. Smash abilities. Alright, got one off. I don't think he's getting out, though. And Parentchild's not unbreakable. He's using abilities kind of last... Oh, there we go. Army loss kicked in. And Xu Huang's gonna die by elephants here. Another Flame of Phoenix. He's just not gonna get out of this. There's no kiting out. He's not on horseback. Yeah, he burned to death chasing an elephant there, Mulu. And we have Beihai Butchers taking the win. 7 minute 45 seconds. This is probably Beihai Butcher's slowest win so far. I think he has a total time with the 3 wins around 16 minutes. Super fast. And this means, actually, even if you lose the last match against Lu Meng and then lose the group, depending on if Lu Meng wins both games coming up next, he will probably still advance because he has gotten his 3 wins in such fast manner with this composition. And speaking of the composition, it's interesting to see King of Yan go down against the army of elephant, given especially how he won Season 2 off the back of elephants. So it comes back to hunt him, as these 2 war elephants did quite a number. 150 kills, 127 kills, crushed those infantry. The unit quality has always been an issue for King of Yan across the 3 matches. I think the first match is the only match he had a decent enough time with his unit. He lost all the units in the second match as well, and was only able to carry things back off the back of his generals, and this time he just couldn't get away with that. I think that has to do with the cavalry choice, has to do with the infantry choice. The javelins are very nice in terms of their damage against generals. We saw that in action against Sun Ce in the first matchup, but that's more misplay on the part of his opponent rather than the fact that, you can guarantee that damage output each time. Weakness to fire, low damage, not that high armor either, is definitely going to be problems, especially running into an elephant comp like this one. And the cavalry were not microed well, didn't look for targets. I think those Follower the Flame needed to be sniped by the cavalry. They just didn't really go do that, and that kind of swung things the other way. And like I said, before the match started, with this loss, King of Yan is going to be only 2-1, which effectively knocks him out of the tournament, and he will not be repeating as champs for this season. On the other side, Beihai Butchers secure a 3-0 lead, which is a pretty big lead, but if you look at the remaining matches, Lu Meng still has 2 matches to go, including the final match against Beihai Butcher at the end there. So if Lu Meng's able to take a win in the next match and then challenge Beihai Butchers in that final match, then he will come out to win the group with the head-to-head tiebreaker over Beihai Butcher. Otherwise, Beihai Butcher could be our first 4-0 contestant this season with his Nanman comp, and we'll see if that happens at the end of the day. And until then, bye!